Hello everybody, this is Mithril Zenith. Welcome back to another 15-minute tier list. This time for Fire Emblem Fates Conquest. We are splitting the Fates games into all three of their derivatives because the units handle so differently. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. Let's see here if everyone is in their proper place. Where is Corrin? Here is Corrin. There is female Corrin. Is there a separate male Corrin? I don't see them at the moment. There might be. Oh well. Corrin is S tier. Need I say more? Azura is S tier. Miss out a little bit of availability, but other than that, only dancer. Decent combat as S tier. Camilla is another S tier because, I mean, if you played Conquest, you know why Camilla is S tier. She also doesn't gain experience as slowly as a unit of her class should. For whatever reason, because she joined so early and because people are going to be using her, I don't know. Really solid unit. I will put Veruca into A tier, though. I think that she gets vastly overshadowed by Camilla, but that doesn't mean that she herself is bad. Very good unit, very important for the durability she has. Wyvern Rider is still a good class. Niles is A tier because capturing can be very important in Conquest, especially if you're on harder difficulties. I'm debating whether this is on a hard or lunatic playthrough, because I've only ever played Conquest on lunatic. I've played it through twice, and I've only beaten lunatic technically no times without resorting to using other people's castle units, because I didn't plan for the entire game ahead of time and build a perfect strategy for the very last chapter. But yeah, Niles is great. Niles is a really solid unit. Even without his capturing, he's very good against other ninjas, especially if you can get him Bow Knight and get him Shuriken Breaker. Yeah, very good unit, very important. Shura as well. I'm only going to put him on B tier because his availability sucks. I might put him on A tier because availability is not that bad. And with the boots only giving +1 movement, he actually is a pretty reasonable substitute. Really good unit, really solid, just suffers a bit on the availability. Kana. Child units are interesting in this game because you can get them at such different times, and I think the child units overall are much stronger than they are in Awakening, balanced out by the fact that they don't have incredibly overpowered skill combinations or skills like Gale Force. But I think that because of that, the units themselves are better. They come with the seals which pre-promote them if you get them late. They level up in their own chapter to a preset level based on how far you are in the game. Just really solid, really good unit in general. All the child units are. And so they're mostly going to be rated based on their availability or if they have any sort of unique things they can do that I remember. Mozu technically can be used. She's decent if you use her. She's not incredible. Never really becomes godlike or incredible unless you're really lucky, and takes a lot of effort to put in. But she's not as bad as Rinka, who is technically on this list, technically rankable, because you use her in the 7-chapter prologue, and then never again. Yeah, that's Rinka for you. Not a good unit. Odin. Like, I would put Odin around C tier, but I could see why you put him on B tier because he's not that bad, actually. He has a pretty decent ability, because since you can forge anything or name anything, you just give him a weapon with an insane name and he gets +10 crit, which is pretty good. I wish that his class availability was a little bit better. A little bit more suiting to his needs, because he's so middle of the road in a lot of things, split across strength and magic. Not enough speed to be really fast, but not enough defense to be really bulky. He's a decent unit all around. He just kind of gets overshadowed by everyone else. Maybe I'd even put him in C tier, though, then. There are some builds where he can be quite good, but he's never really outshone other units. Leo I'll put B tier because he's very good when you get him. You do get him a bit late. And he either has the durability as a Dark Knight and a decent damage output, or the damage output as a Sorcerer and only decent durability at best. So he doesn't really have the best of either world, but he is pretty good. Xander is an A tier. The only thing keeping him out of S tier is his availability, just like Ryoma. He is the defensive paladin extraordinaire. He is so bulky. He will not die. 1-2 range permanently, effectively, without any weird restrictions on doubling. Can be a little bit slow, can get doubled, and oftentimes misses out on doubling, but he's just kind of right in that sweet spot of just single hitting everything, and maybe doubling if you boost his speed. Really solid unit. Elise is a B tier because it takes her a while to get going as a healer. As a healer, she's still definitely useful. Her insane magic growth, though, makes it very important to level her up as much as you can before getting her out into a promoted class where she can do damage. But when she can do damage with tomes, she is very, very, very good. She just needs to train her tome rank, which you can do with even just a basic fire spell or like an Ember Scroll or something if you find one of those. Really good unit. Ember Scroll. I always rename the thing to Ember, but whatever. I don't know if that's what it is. Sophie, B tier. Again, pretty much similar to Birthright. A little bit better than her father in terms of like strength and speed and skill. Not quite as bulky, defense or HP. Silas is the standby classic, just will always be there for you. Will always be the solid get it done brick of a paladin that you need. Yeah. Siegbert, if he joined earlier and didn't have as... Okay, I'm not going to hold his chapter against him, but it is a very annoying chapter. If he joined earlier, then he would definitely be higher tier, but because he joined so late, behind Xander forcibly, I think I have to give him C tier. B tier maybe, if you can forgive some of that. Shigure, pretty much all the childs are going to default to C tier, unless I find a reason to bump them up. Yeah, there's nothing super impressive about them. Keaton, again, Kitsune and Wolfskin have the weird, even odd thing where they're good on half the turns and not good on the other half of the turns. Beast Killer is good. They just don't have the versatility that I like in a unit, and they don't make up for it by being good enough at what their job is. Basically, what it amounts to is you get them to a point where they get Beast Killer and then they kill enemy horse units, and that's about it. Again, let's get some children units in C tier because they're solid, they're usable, they have some variants. They don't necessarily stand out in any particular way. Hot Springs, surprisingly good. I'll put him in C tier as well. You just get him late, but he's a pretty solid defensive buff. So yeah, pretty useful. Kaze, easily an A tier. Debating if he's S tier, actually. He's that good because it's so important to have units that are fast and dodgy and versatile, and Kaze is all of that. Kaze's only issue is his low strength, but you can fix that, kind of. He'll actually hit his strength cap very quickly because his cap is so low. His unique strength cap is so low. But it doesn't matter because he's doubling everything and avoiding everything. Yeah, I'll give him S tier. He's so good. Especially in Conquest, where no other unit you have is that fast. Birthright, you can get some units that are close to as fast, like with a good Hana or Tsubaki, maybe. Conquest, he is the fastest unit you will have by a country mile. Niles barely comes close. Barely, if you're lucky. And it's just so good having a ninja. Oh hey, another child unit. Severa. Do I give Severa B tier? I guess she's solid enough. She's usable enough to be a B tier. Though I think that she and Laszlo are pretty similar units, so maybe I'm going to put them down in C tier as well, because I don't really feel strongly enough about their output. Charlotte, decent at best. Effie is probably the best armor unit they've ever made. The best armor knight. because Conquest has such a struggle with unit survivability and units being able to one-shot, and Effie does both. She has enough strength to one-shot, she has enough defense and hit points to survive getting hit, and then she eventually gets Wary Fighter if you promote her through General Path, so she doesn't get doubled, because she doesn't have any speed, but it doesn't matter, she doesn't have any speed because Fate's mechanics. Very solid, very good unit, very, very good unit. Like I said, probably the best Armor Knight they've ever made. Leave her as an Armor Knight, that is where she excels. Benny is not nearly as good. Benny is arguably a suitable replacement at the best of times under optimal circumstances, but he definitely feels like the Dolphin Macalon to Effie's Drog, if Drog was actually really good. That's where I would put Benny. Sorry, Benny fans, he's kind of just mediocre. Arthur, he has some crit shenanigans going for him. The crit build in Fates is actually insanely good. Just be careful, because Arthur will often die to getting crit himself. Takes some work to build him up. He can be pretty solid after that. Debating putting him maybe down in C tier, because I know that, you know, if you don't get good growth on him, don't build him up right, he kind of suffers. But I'll put him in B tier. I'll be nice to him. Debating putting Ophelia up to B tier because she is a magical nuke. And still pretty easy to get. I'm going to put Nyx up in B tier though, because she doesn't require the support grind and everything that Ophelia does, and turns out just as good. Oftentimes, leave her as a sorcerer, maybe make her a witch. She's fast and she has speed and magic, and that's all she needs. Give her Lightning Tome and watch her quad destroy everything. Perry, she is very much the offensive Cavalier to Silas's defensive Cavalier. She's pretty good, she's fine. Has some issues with durability, has a little bit of issues with availability. Other than that, not too bad. I will say Felicia is not nearly as good as Jacob in Conquest specifically, because the difference in enemy quality and the difference in what you need them for is severe enough. Felicia will end up being more a staff and debuff bot, whereas Jakob, he can do that, but he can also turn into as a paladin or great knight and be solid as well. Jakob has a little bit more versatility than Felicia does, and Felicia's higher magic is much less important. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Flora, fine, I guess, reasonable. Joins too late to really make a difference, and then when you do have her, she's not impressive. Oh hey, another child unit. Sakura, I guess you only have for the prologue. Anna, where were you in Birthright? I don't remember. I don't think she was on the Birthright tier list, nor was Gunther. Gunther's a stat backpack for Corrin, and that's about it. Has some decent things he can do in a couple chapters in the game. Anna is... I guess Anna's pretty good. Maybe. I don't really know. And then, hey, another child unit. Yeah, that is my tier list for Fire Emblem Fates Conquest. The units all still blend together in C tier. Thanks, modern Fire Emblem. Everyone can be good, but no one's unique. Yeah, I mean, not no one's unique. The A tiers and the S tiers stand out, head above the crowd. B tier, you're never really unhappy to use. C tier, some of them could probably fit into B tier. And then, yeah, you just kind of, it's all downhill from there. Alrighty, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Fire Emblem Conquest tier list. Once again, we're slightly under 15 minutes. Hope you have a wonderful day. Leave your comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoy the video. Subscribe for more Fire Emblem content, and I'll see you next time. This is Mythos Zenith signing out.